I'm Rano,
I'm Duran.
and man, today is I think it's going to be a fun one because obviously Elon Musk is mucking up everything. He's fucking up everything. So, uh, I don't know if you've seen around all of the black Twitter thing going around, all of this race thing going around where Twitter is done, and people are talking about they're going to go and tweet over an Instagram. How that might be possible, I don't see how you can tweet to Instagram. But it's kind of crazy. What are your thoughts about this whole Instagram situation? I mean, not Instagram, but Twitter situation. People, basically either getting fired or leaving, and the whole Black Twitter thing.
Okay, let's start actually with the firing one, and then I want to see. I'll tell you what very little I know about Black Twitter, and I want to probe that more with you because I only a little while ago I'd heard tell that there's a Black Twitter and a Black YouTube, and I had no clue what the hell they were talking about until one day you were screen sharing, and I saw your YouTube, and I was like, oh my goodness, that looks nothing like mine. And we're not talking themes, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking dark mode versus light mode.
No, I know what you mean.
It was the content was completely different, but see, they're calling it Black Twitter, Black YouTube, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. It's you listen to different music in general than what I listen to, and different YouTube things than what I listen to. I don't use Twitter, so I don't know anything about that. But I mean, at least on the YouTube side, I'm sitting there going, I don't. I mean, I understand yours is different, but yours is different because you listen to a lot of American music, for example.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. No. I guess a lot of it now is if you think about it, how much of culture has changed with the thing of hip hop. With hip hop being a big influence, so that's where they get the Black Twitter. Because if you're on Twitter or Instagram, you can call it Black Instagram if you want. If you really look at the thing, the fuck is going?
Your cat.
uh, so if you
You're gonna get killed by that cat here in a minute. We heard
the whole win thing is going crazy. He's going crazy right now. So the whole culture has changed. So with hip hop being a big thing, you can see it in Instagram, Twitter, almost damn near every social media, YouTube, especially with Twitter, because if you want to be anything as far as a social media influencer or at least I would say maybe, in music or the culture, then you're probably going to be tied to somebody who's a hip hop artist or in the music industry. And I think that's why they kind of called it Black Twitter, is because a lot of the hip hop artists have made Twitter a bigger thing. Not only the, moviegoers or movie people or people that's influencing the movie scene, it's also people from hip hop. And as you can see, hip hop also has influenced a lot of what you see in the movies and other places around the world. It's a very influential culture. So you look at my YouTube, for instance, you see I got a lot of hip hop music, R&B, different stuff like that I listen to that is very influential on YouTube as well. And then it's crazy how they suggest that shit to you. So it's like, even if I don't want to listen to that, it's like, hey, listen to this person. I don't know if you know who Kodak Black is or these people. Listen to this person and that person and boom, boom, boom. And it's just like you just see it everywhere. So I don't like calling it Black Twitter or Black anything. I just think that it's more of the hip hop culture that influence is the social medias today. Especially if you're on Instagram. I don't know how much you use Instagram.
I don't use social media.
Oh man, if you're on Instagram, all you would see is just gonna say you just see a lot of black dumb shit on there. That's all I want to say. A lot of dumb shit.
Okay. So why would Black Twitter be? Why would they be dying now? Look, Twitter has always been an odd beast. I don't know that it's ever been profitable. I know people are sitting there trying to act like Elon Musk is wrecking the whole thing, but it as a company has just not done well. It hasn't managed to capitalize on the audience that it has in a meaningful way that has made it particularly profitable. So I guess I know a lot of people are blaming him for all of this, and it doesn't make sense. That'd be like blaming Biden for the economic downturn that actually started before he ever took office, right? It's
Yeah.
the same thing. You look at it and you're like, I don't. I'm looking at the chart. I don't see this.
Right.
And even if Biden hadn't been elected, you would be in a downturn. Even
Right.
if Elon Musk hadn't bought Twitter, you would be. It would be what it is today. So, I mean, I don't understand, and that's part of the reason, by the way, why he's cutting so many jobs. Him and Facebook, him and Zuckerberg,
Yeah.
they're cutting all those jobs because they're not profitable. They're not as profitable as they should be, could be, and these guys are claiming it's because of the overhead. I don't know. They I know for a fact that Twitter has been in trouble for a long time. That's been well published. Facebook has always been wonky. It it's
I
never
don't
done well
even
either.
really use it. Like everybody that's anybody is on Twitter or Instagram, YouTube, stuff like that. And reason why, um, I guess the reason why you can call it such a big thing, Black Twitter, such a big thing, is because majority of the people, and I'm not going to say that could be wrong, but from what I see, a lot of the people that are on Twitter are Black community. However, the reason why it may not be profitable for Twitter, but it's profitable for people that's in the music industry, media industry, because they utilize Twitter to get their music out.
Right.
And they also utilize Twitter to connect with other musicians to do future features or get money and stuff like that. We're not even going to talk about just some of the OnlyFans that they promote on Twitter as well. But basically they use that as a network to get and talk and sell their music, and they make a lot of money. Artists make a lot of money and get a lot of sponsorships through Twitter as well. So, like I said, the hip hop community has made this very, very valuable. So, like for me, if I'm going to be an artist or want to do anything, a lot of times out here, you got to be on Twitter. Just like if you want to be big, get a job
Right.
professionally, you want to be
Right.
on LinkedIn, right?
LinkedIn.
So
Yeah.
Twitter is the way to go if you want to be, get your music heard or be in the industry.
Well, why did people who are trying to do that, trying to get their music out, why did they pick Twitter over? Obviously, they're still using YouTube and things of that nature. Probably, what is it? That Daily Motion? Is that another one?
Yeah, that nobody really cares for that. Daily
Yeah, I
Motion,
don't know.
Vimo,
I know there are a
Vimo,
couple
yeah,
others.
Vimo.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that one. That one too.
They like they're not as popular as YouTube. I remember seeing people do that, but YouTube has became the standard.
Yeah,
And also with promoting your music and how many people you can reach, and how many sponsors you can get. The sponsorship doesn't resonate with Vimo or Daily Motion like it would with YouTube. And we're talking about, you know, artists actually collecting money and getting more money, which is where they're making most of their money off of, besides actually going out of overseas or touring and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's not as much as $1
right,
million or I mean, 1 million views doesn't equal $1 million. So,
right,
but it's still a lot of revenue for most people who are pumping out content all the time. So YouTube is more profitable than any of the other ones, which I would
Wait,
love to see them become more profitable.
we pump out content all the time.
Yeah,
What the hell, man?
we're just not pumping out enough. You know,
Oh, okay.
we're not there yet. And I guess the biggest thing is when you look at the marketing aspect of it, being able to market our stuff. I don't think we market it as much. Maybe if we tried, it may go somewhere. But then again, the algorithm, like YouTube is weird. The way they pick up and different people, like it just doesn't make any sense,
That's
you
true.
know?
It's
And so
random.
it's like you could put all this money in there and then you still not get but a few views.
Right. And that's why then there's been that push for using Twitter
Yeah.
instead. And instead of using even, say, the Google advertisements, right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and Google advertisements are way more strict than something like Twitter, or I would say really like Instagram. Instagram has been very helpful for people who are trying to put their music out because they're not as strict as Google Ads. You could get away with pushing some things into your, snippets or your videos that you're pushing out to get people to go to your videos. Now, it takes a longer time, which means you got to put more money into it in order to get more views than you would have with YouTube, which is why YouTube is the standard to go to,
Right.
because they can get you views faster and a lot more in a quicker amount of time than you would with Instagram. Instagram is a little slower. However, it still reaches a massive lot of people because think of how many people is on Instagram. There's a lot of people on Instagram. And now that Twitter is dying, everybody's just like, forget that. We're moving over to Instagram. And Instagram is going to have a flood of people. And that's probably why Facebook doesn't really, I mean, they're probably cutting things there, but they're making a lot of money on Instagram.
Right, that makes sense.
So, either way, that's where everything is at. And I don't see that dying down as much unless somebody comes with something even better.
I know. Okay, so I want to go back to this idea of culture, and I want to go back to it for one really, hopefully everyone else thinks, but I would argue good reason. So as people move off of Twitter, and we're not just saying people in general, we're actually talking about a specific group, and allegedly, according to the media, but you know how they hype these things up.
Yep.
According to the media, it's a relatively sizable chunk of a very important and influential community that is moving off of Twitter. As they move off of Twitter, as you know, that a lot of that content isn't being captured and saved. So I guess my question is, do we run a risk of losing important data, important from a cultural history perspective, and maybe even partially from a cultural identity perspective? And this extends, I think, even beyond this particular example, because we know, as you probably remember, way back when the World Wide Web first started.
Yep.
You remember how the websites used to be?
Yeah.
Oh, they were so terrible.
It looked like shit. It looked so bad.
Yes, but most of it is gone. Most of all of that is gone, which includes important information, but it also said a lot about the culture and the people at the time. So do we run the risk of having, as we move from platform to platform to platform, so off of what was the one before Facebook, the one where you get a page, a wall?
Oh, MySpace.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I helped
The
them. You
wall.
would think I'd remember their name.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we moved off of MySpace to Facebook, and a lot of that MySpace stuff, I mean, it's gone too, in a similar fashion. We're moving off of Facebook. We're seeing again a move now off of Twitter of a community, not of everyone, but of a community. As we have these transitions, are we losing something culturally? Are we losing cultural artifacts and maybe even cultural assets that we can't determine the significance of? I know the vast majority of it is bunk. The vast majority of it, the only people who would care would be someone like long from now who's trying to figure out how people were, and because historians never write down the day-to-day, right? They just don't. Whereas you're getting that in MySpace and Facebook and Twitter. So understanding that at least in part this would be your community that would be losing something, do you risk losing cultural assets in this shift? And if so, what do you think should be done to try to capture and maintain at least a portion of that?
I can say that if you're talking about just the Black Twitter community in general, I can tell you that I don't think they give a shit. But I can say in particular that I think we do lose some value if you want to go back to how things were at a certain point in time. When it pertains to the media, music, it's everywhere. So
Yeah.
nobody cares if it's not on Twitter or in these places. But if we're just talking about, just for instance, and even though nobody cares about that either, the Black Lives Matter movement, how that started, when it started, what they were doing at that time, and then you think about people that are coming up in a newer generation, maybe further down in
Right.
3000, like, will they know what things were like or was? That data won't be there, right? So neither would it be for people who haven't experienced the MySpace era. So, a lot of the things that I notice with Black people in general, they don't give a shit. They just kind of move forward. They move on, don't care. Let's start something new, create something from scratch, and make something out of it. Right. In this particular case, I think we lose a lot. I think we're not benefiting from losing a Twitter because it really benefited for Black people in general to have a voice, and also
Right.
benefited for people who wanted to promote themselves. Like a lot of these platforms that are dying out, we're losing the opportunity to have that voice in music and whatever it may be, art, whatever you're doing. That's an expression of yourself to have your own voice. And every time we lose one of them, we lose a voice. And at some point in time, we're going to lose as we keep losing these social media markets or not actually promoting some of these smaller ones that could be big. We
Right.
lose the opportunity to promote ourselves or
Right.
to speak, and that First Amendment right that we're supposed to quote unquote have. So I don't think people really think about that. Losing those big platforms that gave us that voice, losing them is a big issue. It's a big hinder to us as a community. It's not like they were really using it in any way, but the fact of the matter is that anybody with social media being present today, think about it, back then there was no social media.
Right.
So you had to go out and do all the footwork to get where you want to go. Now you don't have to do anything. You can just throw it up there. Somebody may see it, put a little money on it, and then somebody sees it, and then next thing you know, you probably blow up and you're the next hottest thing, whether it's art, you're actor or musician, whatever. So
Yes.
losing that, we're starting to lose our voice. And that's
That yes,
okay.
please, I'm sorry.
I was just saying that's just not for Black people. That's for everybody. You
Right.
know. So
Well, actually, so I'm glad you said that because I mean the gears really start turning. I mean, music's. I'm not part of the music industry. I know very little about it
yeah.
or anything like that. But let's step back for a second and think about, to your point, if I'm not a fan of his, but how did Justin Bieber become a big deal? Well, that is well documented. You can see his initial YouTube videos and things of that nature, which I believe is how he got discovered. I don't
Yeah.
know. Again, I don't listen to him. And so, exactly to your point, what you could see is that history, that timeline. Okay, well, this is. I mean, honestly, if I were an art historian or a music anything, I would be using this opportunity to grab all of that data and really start tracking. Okay, here's how the average musician's musical life goes. Here's how long it takes for them to get big. Here's how meteoric the rise is. Here is when they tend to die down. You can gather a lot of data from this. And to exactly what you're saying, it seems like you would lose all of that data because it's not just looking at it from, okay, well, according to YouTube, these are the view counts. It's okay, here's where he exploded on Twitter.
Yeah.
Here's where she became a big deal on, heaven forbid, MySpace.
Yeah. Hey, no,
You know,
a lot of people did become big, like Soldier Boy, SoundCloud, MySpace.
see, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, he got big off of that, but he was kind of one of the first people to pioneer, being able to put your music out this way. But obviously, people don't know he also used LimeWire and torrents to get his music
I
out.
did know that.
Yeah,
I
so
knew that one.
yeah. So a lot of people
That was a
don't know that.
realm I was aware of.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but if you know, you know. But again, a lot of those things
I
were
mean, I don't know.
they were they were very valuable, and losing some of those things kind of just it kind of hinders us. Even though that was a very illegal way of doing things, by the way, so you don't know.
I don't know.
But anyways,
What are these programs you talk
yeah,
about? It
yeah.
and Napster, they never existed.
Hey, I just seen them go across. I never really actually used them. So,
Right, right.
either way, that's
We
just
saw the network traffic.
right. Yeah, so we never used them. You guys, we're not telling you to use them either. So, and you probably can't use LimeWire anymore anyway, but still don't use no torrent. Don't pirate things. But
That's how you get a lot of malware, actually.
yeah. And I'm sure that Soldier Boy has seen a lot of malware in his days too. Uh, but either way, yeah, what's really good about what you said is if you were an artist trying to come up on the rise, and you really wanted to kind of get some average of how people exploded and getting that data and analyzing that data, like, can
Yes.
help you understand not everybody's going to blow at the same time, but it gives you an idea where you could be at a
Only
certain
one
point.
person can blow at once.
Yeah. So mine's in the gutter.
Whoa, whoa. I'm sorry. Did you take it there? I mean,
Hey, hey, hey.
I was talking about culturally.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I guess everybody can't blow simultaneously, so pause. Anyway, uh, so
You walked into that. Don't blame me.
hey, all I know is you were saying something and it didn't sound right. So I had to let people know that we're not talking about that. Just keep your minds out together. Anyway, but yeah, they should use that would be a great time. If not, if you aren't doing that, it is a great time to do that. Actually, it's funny you said that because that's kind of what I've been doing to try to figure out how an artist, what's their steps,
Yes.
what's their life cycle on
Yes.
when they started, how they got to this point where they climaxed, and then where they dropped. And so that
Yes.
way you can live
Oh
long as an artist. Oh my God. His mind is still in the gutter.
God.
The climax and the drop.
That's on you, man. This is on you still. This is still you. You're the one using entendres.
Hey, hey, I was just thinking of, like actions, when you get to a movie where they get to the climax part, the peak.
Oh, I
Not
know that's what you were thinking about.
again, kids mind out together. But definitely I agree with what you're saying. I think
Yeah,
that people should start utilizing that.
yes, and I think that would be great from an artist perspective, from someone who wants to become an artist, and also even from the music industry perspective. Imagine if you're a producer and you want to find the next big thing. You can use that kind of data, that kind of analysis to start hunting for someone that you then want to promote. And I know in a lot of ways that makes it a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I mean it's so accurate.
Yeah, yeah, no, it really is. I think it is the most accurate thing. Now they have analytics that you can look and you can hook to YouTube with your browser and then kind of really see how people when they started and how things go up, but you can do your own.
Right.
And it doesn't give you from this starting point. It kind of just gives you from what they're doing now. And getting that data from their starting point and being able to go back and see that is amazing. But once it's
Right.
gone, you don't have that data, you know, and you don't have something to go off of. And like I said,
Right.
even then for artists, if we go to an artist standpoint, if you're a current artist, losing Twitter is a hinder. Like it's a big thing because now you don't have that voice. Now you have to go to Instagram where, yeah, you can speak and put your titles and stuff on there, but it's not the same. Okay. And it's probably going to be oversaturated now. And now it's already oversaturated, but it's going to be more oversaturated because now everybody's going to move on to Instagram and there's going to be exploding of promoting music there instead of just multiple different spots. Like, I don't think people see that either.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So I think really ultimately the big takeaway is whether you're like me and don't use Twitter, Instagram, etc., and aren't in the music industry, things of that nature. It really is. It's something that people need to pay attention to from a cultural history and art history perspective that we risk losing, especially because everything on the internet is so ephemeral. You hear all the time, once it's on the internet, it's there forever, which is baloney.
Yeah, that
The
is.
stuff you want to be there forever isn't. The stuff you don't want to be there forever is.
Yeah,
But
no, I
I,
agree.
I think I think it is a real travesty, and it's something that people maybe need to pay attention to. It would be nice if researchers looked into this a little more. It would be nice if someone captured the data a little better, especially if people are leaving the platform for whatever reason, even if we were talking politics. So let's say you had the entire right leave Twitter. They didn't, but a fair portion of it did. Then that's a lot of people whose data is, if they delete their accounts, it's gone now potentially. So you now that's political history that's gone. And of course, politics and culture and art define you as a people. So,
Yeah, no, that's the same way for the cybersecurity community as well.
mm-hmm.
All of those
Yep,
people who were coming up trying to learn and getting all this information, which we didn't have back then, and you have all that information, whether it's online, Twitter, whatever. And Twitter is big as just giving information. Now you lose that. And it's kind of like it was free. You didn't have to go pay Medium or whatever to actually look at some information. Doesn't mean that all the information on there was great, but it was still great for people who actually wanted that information. And now we're going to be losing all of that. Now, as we say, things on the net, it can be deleted. However, when people say that it's never deleted, that's because people like Facebook save it to their server and they use it to sell it to other places.
right.
We're not going to go there, but you didn't hear that from me. I'm just saying that they store it and save it on their servers. That's why
Yes,
it's never really truly deleted, but it is deleted off the internet. If you deactivate your account, you're gone. There's nothing there.
yes, yes.
So, yeah, this is going to be a big deal, and I think people should take it more serious. It's not funny. People are laughing, joking, making memes, but once it's gone, then your voice is gone.
Yes, you're exactly right.
You
You're
know.
exactly right.
So either way, if you guys like this, please let us know down in the comment section. I'm Raniel,
I'm Duran.
and please like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you to the next time. Later.
Have fun.